guys, welcome back to What If. On today's episode, we are going to be discussing what it is that will tell you that he is the right guy for you. All right. Firstly, I would just like to say that with every guy, it's different, right? And for me, I feel that not all the guys are gonna show that they're right for you the same way, more especially because you are also not the same as every other woman. Every guy that comes is different. That's number one. Number two, you're also different. I might be somebody that likes to be taken out for dinner or things like that. I might be somebody that likes to go on for breakfast. I might be somebody that likes to go on tour. That might be somebody that likes to go around the world, for example, and that might be my love language, right? But that does not necessarily mean that the next girl next to me also finds that to be the thing that will make the guy that comes into their life the right guy. So I would say that in order for you to know if a guy is right for you, firstly, he must communicate via the same love language as you. All right, if your love language is touching, if your love language is quality time, if your love language is sending mini texts, reassurance, things like that, right? So you must be able to find those qualities in the person that you actually want to be with for a long time in order for you to say, this is the right person for me. And mind you, we don't have the same love language. So if you're gonna look for the love language that I look for in a guy that you want to stay with forever, there might be a point where you start realizing that this guy is communicating differently in terms of how I want to be loved. And that is definitely going to leave you stranded in the relationship, because you're now going to feel like you're in a relationship with somebody that doesn't understand you. And the fundamentals of the relationships are understanding each other. What if there are two people in a relationship that have two different love languages, right? The other's love language is material things, buying them this, buying them that, being able to think for them when they're hungry, buying them takeaways. And the other person's love language is actually just quality time, small texts here and there during the day, asking them if they've eaten, asking them how their day is going, just actually being able to talk to them throughout the day, right? What happens if those two people fall in love and they actually like each other? How then do they find middle ground in that relationship to actually be able to say, okay, he understands my love language, I understand his love language? Now, my advice on this is that a conversation, first of all, needs to be had. The conversation will comprise of things like, what is it that I can do to show you that I understand your love language and I'm there for it? Do you understand? So it's gonna be a thing of, okay, what can I do to show you that I care? What can I do to be there for you? What can I do to actually practice the love language that actually communicates to you better? That's when you're gonna reply with what makes it, or what makes you feel like somebody's attentive to your love language, what makes you feel like somebody knows what you need throughout the day to get motivated, to stay happy, to stay knowing that you're actually in a relationship, that a remembrance and reassurance that you might need all throughout the day. So yeah, a conversation needs to be had, and an exchange of how best can the other party actually come to terms with what it is that is your love language better than what they're actually doing that could be their own love language, but that doesn't communicate with yours. What if this person that you're talking to, or the person you're in a relationship with, you've been talking to, you've been expressing yourself, you've been telling them your love language, you've been trying to get them on the same boat with you, but then it doesn't seem like they're coming to the party? It's been 6 months, 12 months, yet the relationship is still as if it just begun, right? Now, in this instance, I would say it will be a gut feeling thing, right? Sometimes you might want to say, okay, I'm gonna leave this guy if he doesn't open up by 6 months. But then you find out at 6 months, then there are certain elements of the relationship that you're actually happy with that are different from the beginning, and those actually are important to you as well. So you are seeing that there are things that have changed. It's just that this part of the relationship, or this part of him hasn't changed. So in that situation, I'll definitely say go with your gut feeling, listen to what yourself says, and definitely follow what you think will happen, because I believe that when you're with a person in a relationship, after 2-3 months, you know that person to a certain extent, because you can never really know a person fully, right? To a certain extent, you know that person and you understand what makes them tick. So you will know whether that person is just being hard-headed and they are actually gonna maybe try and get the information that you've given them under the belt and start moving with it, or they definitely are stand still on their beliefs and they're definitely not coming to the party. So you will know after a certain time. And I think in most cases people stay in relationships or leave relationships with avoiding their gut feeling, trying to say no, even though I feel like he's gonna change, I just feel like I'm wasting my time. And that's your gut feeling telling you that he is changing, and you're losing it by leaving. But like I'm saying, listen to yourself always. Now, here's the biggest question. What if you don't know your love language, right? I think this is the biggest one of all. Now, it is important to know your love language. Why am I saying this? Now, if you don't know your love language, you'll never know when somebody is actually communicating it to you, right? So it's very important to sit down with yourself or to actually assess some of the relationships that you've been in and try and see what are the things that would have been done by the other party without you having to say it, or without you putting it in motion, that made you feel like, oh my goodness, this person thinks about me, or this person actually is in love with me, or this person actually feels the same way as I do about them, right? What are those things that made you feel appreciated? What are those things that made you feel loved in your prior relationships? In most cases, those turn out to be your love languages, the things that the person would do and you would actually feel loved and appreciated by them, because you feel that those are things that should happen in a relationship. The things that you feel should happen in a relationship, and the things that make you feel like you are in a relationship, those are definitely your love languages. Things like somebody that is able to tell you when they're going out, what time they'll be back. Things like somebody being able to reassure you, no, don't worry, I love you, you look amazing, you're still the one for me. Things like that, right? Things like somebody just going out shopping and then they just come back with your favorite chocolate. Try to think about yourself and the things that you've done and the things that other people have done, and try to see what are the things that you felt were the most nicest and kindest things that they did for you without you having to have asked for them. How do you actually figure out what is a realistic love language and what is a love language that is definitely mostly out of reach in most cases, right? In most instances. Now, I'll make an example in this case. Your love language might be that you want to be taken away on a cruise every weekend, right? For example. In this instance, firstly, we're talking about financial freedom. This person has to be financially free, right? Secondly, on that same list, you want somebody that has got time for you, right? This person has to take you out every weekend, but you also need time from this person. Now, if you look at these two things, they're already in conflict with one another, right? Number one, it's going to be a thing of, if this person has a lot of money, they probably don't have time. And if they do actually have a lot of time, then the money that they're making could just be from average to almost nothing, okay? So in this instance, what I'm trying to say is make sure that the list that you have of your love languages communicates with one another. It shouldn't be a list of your love language that actually is in conflict with some of the things, right? You can't say you need somebody with a lot of money that's going to be able to take you out every weekend, yet every weekend you want to be with this person. So when some of the love languages expect you or make you or force you to choose between the two things, and that's when you need to actually distinguish what is more important to you. Is it the time, or is it being able to go out every weekend on a yacht? Right? Those are the two things that you need to choose. And if you're going to choose going out on a yacht every weekend, you must always remember that you might not even be going out with your partner, because that partner will be busy making the same money that you need to go out with. Right? So I think with the love languages, it's a very tricky one. But I think when it comes to love languages with women, I would also say that most of our love languages are simple things. Things like somebody just thinking about you and texting you in the morning, things like somebody just buying you something out of nowhere for no reason, things like somebody just actually being able to feed you, for example, because I know my ladies want to eat, right? So just keep it simple, girls, keep it simple, because you actually find out that sometime along the line, time is actually important, communication is actually important, and being able to spend time with your partner is actually important. So if you're gonna actually choose to shake your ass on a yacht every weekend, you are not gonna be able to have time with this person. So choose wisely and remember why you want your love language to be communicated after all, because we're dating for marriage, girls. So girls, let me know what you think on the comment section. Maybe we will be picking your topic next for our next video, right? Think about it this way. What if